gone insane. An upside-down civilization cannot be real. A world of madness and terror.
It's the Dana Gould Hour.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter H and the number 4. The letter H as in horses and heroes and the humiliation that can result from close encounters with either one. Now, our last episode, called Ballyhoo, brought in a ton of listener mail, and if I have not gotten around to answering yours yet, please know that I will. We're a little short-handed here, what with vacations and finals coming up, and people have other jobs and doing the washing and such. But one letter did get through that I did read, and I did want to share with you. This is a Coney Island remembrance, courtesy of Nick from New Jersey. Nick writes, "During the 1980s, my father used to deliver amusement park rides. One time he took me on a trip to Coney Island. I was maybe 10 at the time. We got there, and about 20 minutes go by, and a black fella dressed as a woman walks by my dad's truck. Heels, stockings, the whole 9 yards. So I asked my dad, why is that man dressed like a woman? Without missing a beat, he says, because people pay more for that kind of shit. See how amusement parks bring families together? Now, I had intended today's show to be about one specific subject, but the conversation yanked us in a completely different direction, which is exactly as it should be. So joining me today are our old pals John Ennis, who you can see soon, on FX's Totally Biased with Kamau Bell. GC Wright is here, along with Eddie Pepitone. You can see Eddie live in New York on May 29th at the Gotham Comedy Club. Matt Weinhold will entertain you in your own home. Just go to cdbaby.com and pick up his CD, Dead Funny. You can also check Matt out at comedyfilmnerds.com. As for me, 2 dates I wanted to tell you about. One, May 30th, I'll be in Los Angeles at the Fake Gallery, where as part of the Riot Comedy Festival, I will be running through the material for my new 1-hour special, which is just coming together. And on June 2nd, this is important, June 2nd, I will be in Seattle at the Triple Door with my very good friend Kathy Sorbo. So if you're up in the Pacific Northwest, please come and see us. Ticket info for all of these shows can be found at danagould.com. Just click on the Performing Live link, and off you go. Now, while you're there, if you look directly below the podcast window, you can find our Amazon link. Now, this is a great way to contribute to the show without it costing you a penny. Just go to Amazon through our link. Buy whatever you're going to buy, let's say bacon grease. And when you do it through our banner, Amazon kicks it to us without it costing you anything extra. You get what you want, we keep the lights on, everybody's happy. And it allows us to keep bringing you shows like this.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. A working man's look at the socio-political issues of our day. And now, Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. Yep. I'm Johnny Condon.
Yeah, and I'm Robbie Sullivan.
Do you ever go to Walmart and they find the oldest guys they can, like, welcome to Walmart, and you're like, because they want you to think it's like a family store.
Yeah.
It's a family. So, like, we are making this old man who just wants to stand under fluorescent lights in an ugly vest and shake everybody's hand, and Lord knows what he's catching.
He used to be the guy standing there going, oh, yeah, here's the 3 ladles we got. That one will take extra heat or whatever. But now they won't even let him do that.
That's a good fly reel.
Yeah, exactly. That was him. Now it's like, you know what, sir? Just sit in the front of the store. We'll give you half what we gave you and a donut.
Yeah. They call them big box stores because they need a big box to put in all the carcasses of these greeters they find.
Yeah.
They got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel, and you're making them stand in the goddamn door and shake everybody's hand. I just imagine that behind the store there's a landfill of bones.
Walmart bones. You can get them half off.
Or go to the mall.
My dad used to make me do, like, all right, guess which store is going to be gone. Like, you look at the whole map of stores. One of these places,
Puzzle Zoo,
will be
dead.
That's the perfect one.
The music boxery, dead.
That's not going to be the hamstery. That's done.
Yeah, the music box store.
Yeah.
What were you? Who gave you the loan to open up a fucking music box store?
And how many do you still have after fucking year one?
You know if you watch the news, you know what is the big business, and if I cared enough, I'd invest.
What's that?
Clothes for fat shits.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That
That's a
should be
big hit.
CFFS.
Yeah, because if you just put the initials in, people would know.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Clothes for fat.
They'd figure it out walking by.
The average baby, I might have read this wrong, but the average baby now in America weighs 300 pounds at birth.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it's all that processed food.
Yeah, that's big.
My prediction, if we keep eating the way we do,
Yeah.
in 40 years,
Yeah.
the average person, when cut, will bleed a McDonald's shake,
Oh, Jesus.
which isn't even shake.
Yeah, no, I just heard a statistic that in 15 years, 45% of America will be obese.
Yeah.
15
But it's-
years. We got 15 years. That's
Yeah.
it.
But there's something about a Shamrock Shake that I find thrilling.
It's once a
so
year.
wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that's organic. Here's what you need to know about this fucking Shamrock Shake, buddy. What is the most prevalent color in nature?
Green.
Green.
Yeah.
Shamrock Shake is the one shade of green that does not exist in fucking nature. There's 7,000 shades of fucking green.
Yeah, it
and
looks like-
Shamrock Shake is the one that's pen caps.
Yeah, it looks like a sick nun. Something's
It
not
looks like
right.
a zombie from Scooby-Doo. Not
Yeah.
a zombie from a zombie movie, but like
Yeah.
a funny zombie from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And then he takes off his hat, and it's Old Man Jenkins from the former
After
amusement
you hit
park.
the TV. Once you give the smack to the TV. Oh, look, Shamrock Shake color.
It's the color of Lurch in the Addams Family cartoon.
Oh, I love that cartoon.
Yeah. Everything's going on. It was a couple weeks ago in North Carolina. They voted to ban gay marriage.
Yeah, what were they thinking?
Here's my thing about I don't give a fuck who gets married.
In
As long
North Carolina, why do they care? Aren't they just glad there's people there?
as long as I don't have to get married myself, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Preventing people from getting married is like it's like a helmet law. If somebody wants to smash their fucking head into the highway, who am I to stop them?
Yeah, they're not going to hurt the highway.
Ugh.
They're going to hurt the helmet they bought.
And I'm not even against the institution. I just don't want to wear a suit. You know who's the big money in favor of it?
Who?
The guys who make sleeveless tuxedos.
Oh, because that's who buys it.
Because
Yeah, who
those
else
gay
would buy
guys
one?
now,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
people
they look
use-
good. They're what do you call
They're
it?
all buff.
Yeah.
All the
and-
gay
and they're
guys now,
very
they're
fashionable.
all something about the gay culture changed in the couple of years where they used to be sort of fey,
Yeah.
and now they all look like the Hulk. And I don't. People say, "Oh, you're so." I'm not pro-gay or anti. I don't give a fuck.
If two people figured out how to love each other, I figured, they won that game.
And especially when it's all these religious guys that are like talking about it, because they're always look. I'd love to continue to talk about gay marriage, but I've got to go diddle an altar boy behind the dumpster before
Yeah.
his parents come to pick him up. I just want to be left alone and comfortable. That's all I want.
I think that's a nice thing to want.
When I found out that coffins were padded, I stopped fearing death.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
like it's nice, it's padded.
You know what I learned that? Just now.
Just now?
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Oh, I learned it
Padded.
from watching Dark Shadows.
Oh, how is
Barnabas
that?
had a nice, comfy
I'm
coffin.
waiting for it to come out.
Yeah, I'm
Something
not
like
going
that.
to the movies anymore.
I can't go to the
I
movies.
guess too
Not
many
for
people
that.
on their phone.
You know, drive-in movie theaters, are they over for good? I never,
Oh, the Menden Twin is still going, my friend.
because a lot of them are
Menden
shut
Twin,
down.
Menden, Massachusetts, Route 16.
Oh, no
Two
kidding.
screens.
And if you don't like the movie you're watching, you can wander over and look at the other one.
You can wander, you can sit in the movies and let one rip. Nobody cares. You're in your fucking car.
That's the reason to go.
Yeah. Again, goes back to my theme about marriage. Why do I like to drive in? I like to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Marriage, I got to get in a suit. I got to eat chicken. I got to have cake I
That
don't
is-
like. Speaking of clothes, did you ever see those pictures of fucking David Bowie in the early 70s?
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck was he thinking?
I don't know. He was a trend setter. That's what he was, a trend setter. You know what them are?
People follow him later, but I can't understand it because to me, I guess it's like, hey, Dave, we're going to the pack. You get some clothes on.
Yeah.
What are you wearing? Scuba flippers and a Dayglow pup tent. Just put on some fucking clothes, you asshole. He doesn't even fit in the car. They got to strap him to the roof like fucking skis.
I think he'd go to his girlfriend's place and, look through stuff and go, you know what would be funny?
If I wore this upside
Yeah.
down. If you woke up from a dead sleep and found David Bowie blowing you,
I'd probably think I was asleep.
my thought would be, okay, this time and then that's it.
This is the one time.
Very rare that people will interrupt a blow. Get out of here.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Stop blowing me.
Who do you think you're helping?
There's a sentence that nobody has ever said. Hey, stop blowing me.
I don't care for it.
You can knock that shit off right now.
Hey. No, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. I am not going to have sex with 3 girls at once. Never said on the planet.
How did you get in here?
You know who funds a lot of the anti-gay marriage proposals? The Mormons, who have like every Mormon has like 17 wives.
Yeah. Well,
no wonder they're all running for office. You got to get out of the fucking house.
No wonder they're pissed.
My
God, how many times a day do you have to be reminded to bring your coat?
How many times a day do you have to say, I'm wrong? You're right, honey. I'm wrong. You're right, honey.
How many times a day do you have to say, I put gas in the car?
Yeah. The car doesn't run on fumes, dear.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, I love you. Could I turn on the car one time without the fucking gas light being on?
You know what David Bowie said about Mick Jagger? He said, yeah, he's a wonderful entertainer, but I wouldn't wear a new pair of shoes in front of him. Meaning, he would steal his style or his fashion.
Yeah.
Like he sees something and he goes and does it.
Everybody takes something from everybody else.
Yeah, you can't help. How do you not borrow? You borrow ideas. You borrow sayings. What was
caveman. What was the caveman? Look at that asshole. I had a fire. Now he has a fire.
Who said extant? What was that word again?
Extant.
Who said that? That you picked it up? It was a.
Somebody said it and then it became a word.
It went into a calendar.
Enter the vernacular, which was last Thursday's word.
Yeah, I like that. What's that mean?
Vernacular, common usage of words.
Oh, that's nice.
Tomorrow is hemorrhage.
Oh, gee. How do you know?
Sometimes I'm naughty. I look ahead.
I do that with horoscopes. I'm like, I don't like today's. What's tomorrow going to bring?
Yeah. Today, it's usually something really risky like, don't set your hand on fire today, Scorpio.
Yeah, I think yesterday's was, you should reach out to others because they may reach back to you.
I'd like to go back to the horoscopes on September 10th, 2001, and read,
see how you
read
did?
how many of them said, tomorrow will be a massive disaster. Or if they're all like, hey, Capricorn, good day to buy a Frisbee. The thing about fucking horoscopes is I don't put a lot of faith in anything where I need an icon of a wizard. And there's always a like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and when you look at the people that are the ones saying the horoscope, you go, like, you got to be kidding me. This guy just moved out of his van because of this.
You see a lot. Most of the professional astrologers that are women, you know what you don't see a lot in their future? The treadmill. They're big as fucking houses, every single one of them.
Well, I think they're sitting back and they're saying to themselves, what do I say?
Yeah. I've been looking at your horoscope for the next 5 years, and the word sit-ups has not appeared.
Yeah.
You ever see an old guy naked at the gym in the shower?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a washed turkey. A turkey on the draining board.
It's gravity and shade.
Yeah, and people say, they're a lovely couple. They're both in their 80s. They've been married for 60 years. All I can think of is 2 washed turkeys on the draining board rubbing against each other. Oh, God. I want to throw up. I throw up in my mouth.
Yeah, the combination of gravity and shade together, working as a team.
There's a horoscope. Here's my horoscope for everybody. Not a good day to imagine old people fucking. I'm Johnny Condon.
Yeah, Robbie Sullivan here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Would you?
Political Talk with 2 guys from Boston.
The guy who trained Flipper feels responsible for what happened to dolphins and is the biggest advocate for their
because they really
safety.
shouldn't be in captivity in any way.
You knew
right?
that, right? You never saw The Cove?
No.
No,
It's
I
a
didn't watch.
brutally.
This is a weird thing about me. I hate dolphins. No. Same with riding a horse. I do not like riding a horse.
Me neither. Now, we are on the same page there. It
And we
seems
go
that
every effing summer to Montana.
you have to ride a horse.
And, well, here's, just if I may, talk about myself on my podcast.
No, when you said ride a horse, it really triggered such fear in me because when I get on a horse, man, I'm really terrified. Terrified.
It's like being dragged through the woods on a motorcycle that hates you.
Yes, and they always tell you this too. The horse can sense your fear, and that immediately then it puts me in my head. Oh, great!
You know, if they're
Just
so
walking and sensing my fear.
Yes.
if they're so smart, why don't they have a better gig?
So when you get on a horse, what was your thing about horses? You didn't finish.
Well, I don't like the fact that they are sentient. They're sentient. They're really. It's not like my car is really powerful, but I'm in complete control of my car, and I'm not in complete control of my horse, and I still always think, you don't like me up here.
Right.
We go to this place in Montana that has horses. And the kids,
Redford's Ranch?
we go to Robert Redford's ranch.
Hello, Dana.
We go to Steve Gutenberg's ranch in Montana.
Does he have one? That doesn't work.
He rides ostriches.
That would be great if just really low-rent celebrities had huge expanses in Montana. Yeah. Lauren Hughes from The Love Boat, she owns all of Bozeman, Montana, and we go there.
Yeah, why does everybody have to be stimulated constantly, by the way? And I have that problem, too. Like, I think we are overstimulated at this point. Just constant stimulation.
Without a doubt. The fact that the sheer amount of information coming over your computer that you could never even remotely tap deeply into it.
I swear to God, I have to walk to a park. Luckily, I live right across the street from a park. I have to walk to this park and go feed squirrels, or lay in the grass just to get the computer stuff out of my head.
Yeah, because you wake up and your first words are, I'm behind.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! It's crazy. It's fucking nuts.
Transcendental meditation.
I do that. Well, you know what?
I speed meditate. I get it done in 7 seconds. Yes! I usually do it on the treadmill. No, the TM,
I always get weirded out because I forget to meditate, and then I'm stressed about that,
Here's the other cool thing about studying TM if you live in Los Angeles. If you enter the David Lynch Institute, which we are...
Is that what you do?
And you get to sometimes hang out with David Lynch, which is great.
Yeah.
I would love to.
How are you? How are you today?
I finished a cabinet.
Yeah, that's always
Isn't he always woodworking?
I was I was traveling in Calabasas, and I saw this really interesting thing in an antique store. It was a raccoon fetus in a mason jar. It was just great. But he's not affected. He is absolutely 100%.
He's real, right?
That's great. Yeah. I'm talking like we're friends. We are not friends,
Yeah.
but I have been in his company.
Yeah.
I don't want to give the false impression that I'm hanging with D. Lynch.
The antidotes to overstimulation, they're tough to do. I mean, it's tough for me to sit because I'm partly going, oh, God. Because as I'm meditating, it does feel good, but I also then the things that I need to do come into my mind as well. Like, I'm letting go of stuff, which is nice, but then I'm also remembering stuff. Like, part of my mind being healed is that I'm remembering stuff I should have done a couple of weeks ago.
You do get to that point, then it's like when you clean your closet, the stuff that you forgot about comes up.
Yeah.
And you have to
Right, you found the box in the corner.
Yeah, that.
Cleaning begets more cleaning.
Yes, stillness is just an invitation to chaos. You have to remain in a state of constant chaos to prevent the further chaos from happening. I have a theory. I'm pursuing spiritual ease through constant competition with everything. Sometimes I will remember things that happened to me in my life, and I will physically flinch.
Oh, yeah.
Same here.
Or
where I want it to go away. Like, I'll remember
like you're trying to shake it out of your head.
Yes. It's like someone telling you the horse can sense your fear.
Yes.
I then am like, well, I shouldn't think this thought. This is physically fucking me up.
Well, my mind is like the holodeck. I mean, like, I go right there. I go right to that place.
Now, for those of you who aren't nerds,
I don't know what holodeck means.
The holodeck is from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Is it?
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea is a sidebar.
That's not the
hilarious
Jules-
show because it was just cast off costumes from Lost in Space the week before. So
Yeah.
They're very, very far into the sea, and they are going to attack a giant carrot that was just on Lost in Space. The giant carrot, I forget his name, but the giant carrot was on Lost in Space. Guy in a carrot suit, and he just kept going, moisture. My oldest daughter, the first time she was on a horse, and she was only 7, and she's just a natural.
Oh, that's great.
We were going down.
No
what's
fear.
called- No, we were going down like what's called a switchback, which is a really steep hill, and the horses have to kind of zigzag down.
Okay.
And you're
That's a
basically
switchback.
standing on the horse because it's so.
Wow.
It's like the side of the letter A.
Isn't that a type of riding? What do they call that?
It's called, I don't know if it's right.
Rough riding?
I was clinging for dear life was what I was doing. And your horse will, here's the great thing about horses. They'll test you. They always say that too.
Yeah.
He's going to test you. Oh, good.
Yeah.
What about a bike? You know, they want to know if you're in charge. And if you're not in charge, they're going to try to be in charge. And
I don't like any of this.
I mean, either. What is the appeal?
I ride the ones that have like had all the will beaten out of them.
Yeah.
They're like 42 years old,
Are we
and they're
talking
at the
about-
camp.
Oh, that kind of... No, they
Yeah.
can even be
we're not
testier.
talking about women. We're talking about horses.
I don't want to get into my destination to be a battle of wills ever. I
Yeah.
want to
And
get there.
And I had that with this one horse. And again, the name. You're on Rugrat. Good.
Rugrat.
Yeah. You're on Tornado.
You're in Black Death.
And we are, and we're going down the switchback, and my horse goes, I'm going to lay down.
No.
Yeah. And they're all going, kick him, kick him, kick him. And I'm going, kick the animal that hates me on a steep mountain. Now, in the meantime, as I'm kicking this horse, and I'm surrounded by pine trees with sticks and spikes, and I'm just like, why am I doing this? My daughter...
For your daughters.
She's 7. She's in front of me. Her horse is having a miscarriage. She's like kicking it in the ass. Come on, stay in line. No, like, everything is fine.
Your daughter's fearless is great.
She's amazing, yeah. And
Yeah.
I was back in L.A., and I was talking to my shrink, and I was telling him the story, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I just can't be happy. Maybe I don't know how to have a good time.
I was going to say...
Reading into it too much.
Like, I would
Yeah.
take it like the horse senses that I'm a person who doesn't love.
The horse knows.
Yeah.
The horse knows me better than
We
I
both
me.
know you're weak.
Yeah. And my therapist...
The horse knows I'm a failure.
Yeah.
That's how I would take it.
Yeah.
I'll take your lump of sugar, but we both know the truth.
The horse likes your earlier stuff. Your horse thought you were better as an open micer.
Yeah.
But no, so I tell this long story to my shrink, and again you try to stretch it out and make something out of it, and my shrink just looks at me and he goes, "You're a comedian. What are you doing on a horse?" It was beautiful. It was great.
There's something gorgeous about nature that we don't get a lot living in a big city. I mean,
Yeah.
that, for me, that's what it is. And I do love horses from afar. They're gorgeous freaking animals. But once you're there near and on one, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
When I
People
was
ride elephants. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
People ride elephants,
I
too.
have been on an elephant ride. You know, like literally at the carnival that we talked about last
right.
time.
Yeah.
I was on that elephant, and that was fine because
was?
they don't tear off through the woods. I just think I'm going to lose an eye. I'm going to lose something. And here's another thing. So we're walking along the edge of a ravine. Like literally, like right along
With the horse?
Yeah, on the horse.
Ooh.
And I swear the horse kind of gives me a look.
It's like that scene in a horror movie where there's the guy who's got you captive, and you see that knife.
Yeah,
and you
no,
go,
that's the
"Shit,
same.
This could be my moment.
That was literally it. The horse like, mm-hmm. Did you have fun kicking? Was the kicking fun for you? I wake up, it's our vacation, and I wake up in the morning and I'm just churning like, oh, I gotta, because after the horse is done, then I can relax. I can go swimming. I can
After the horse day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's just before everyone's like, oh, we're going on the horse. My stomach is just a knot.
The minute I learned what spurs were for, like when you're a kid, you see the spurs on the boots, and it just looks kind of cool.
They're kind of cruel, right?
But it's a little spiked wheel that
To
you
get them
jam
going.
into
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like
And
that
they say
shit.
that they have a lot of muscle. You can't feel it. I mean, they're all muscle. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
That's the same people that say, the fish, it doesn't bother the fish. The hook in the
Oh,
mouth
yeah,
doesn't bother
right,
the
right.
fish.
You know, when you
Right.
throw a lobster in the boiling water, that's the happiest moment of your life. Yeah. That sound you hear, that's them screaming with joy.
That's lobster applause. Bravo, sir. Bravo. Sometimes they go, don't spook the horse. Or
Don't spook the horse.
We were going across. That's why, by the way, never take a horse to a haunted house.
Of course.
So we're going across this, I don't know, butte, flat grass area. And
Steep.
one of the horses freaks out.
Not yours.
Oh. No, but I figured mine was next. Yeah.
Now they have a leader.
Mine had
so-
mine had dynamite strapped to its chest. It was going, Mine kept calling me the Great Satan.
The Caesar of the group just took control.
So what happened? Well, there was a cow that had died, and like a bull steer that died, and it was just a skeleton in the grass.
And it saw it and
Yeah,
reacted?
and the horse got spooked.
Yeah.
So if horses can be spooked by visual
Yes.
stimulus,
Yes.
okay, now you're shooting, it's 1967, you're shooting Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And you have a scene where a bunch of guys have to ride through a cornfield on horseback, chasing some people dressed as cavemen. Oh, and the guys are dressed as gorillas. What did the horses think?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I wonder how
Did
they
they have,
controlled them. I wonder how they controlled them.
Planet
they
of the
have-
Spooked Horses.
Yeah, did they have like gorilla immersion camp for the horses?
By the way, did you guys see the movie? Beautiful movie. About the guy who is the horse whisperer, Buck. Did you guys see this movie?
No, the
Just-
documentary about the horse whisperer?
Yes. Beautiful. And the way this guy, he talks about the people, this is really true. He talked about the people who can't ride horses, who have problems with their horses, and he always turned it in. He says, "You're the problem." like
Oh, great. Great.
He'll make a lot of money. He'll make a lot of money.
the horse, he was like his point.
Distributing blame is a great business.
He was like, maybe the problem isn't with the horse, but the problem is with you. But he was amazing with horses.
That would be a great thing for for an oncologist. You know, the problem is you. No, I know. I have cancer. That's why I came to you. Well, yeah, it's yours. The question is to ask yourself why you have cancer. Because I caught it? Oh, I see you've answered that question. Never mind then.
But your horse didn't flip out.
No, it was. I'm just so uncomfortable on them, and it's coming up. It's coming up in July. And I'm already dreading it.
Are you
Oh,
really?
I wake up every morning. Horse.
Can't you go on the hayride or,
Yeah, no, you can do all that stuff after you ride the horse.
Oh, okay.
And I have this sort of Catholic duty of like, you can't enjoy yourself if you haven't suffered. Go out and suffer, and then you can relax. And I'm not lying.
Now, are you getting better, though? How many years have you done this?
Clearly not. Here's my argument. Does everybody have to be good at everything?
really.
Can't I just be a guy that doesn't like to ride a fast horse? Is that enough?
Yes, yes.
I guess there's a machismo involved, too.
You know,
This is funny. This is the horses episode.
I can go on. Yeah, I know.
Things we like to ride.
And then
We'll take it somewhere else.
And when you can't do it, all the horse people are like, they're kind of smug.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why don't you do 5 minutes on Conan, chucklehead?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are your balls? There. But I wonder, like, at the end of your life, you're going to look back on, like, all those times where, like, why did I go on the horse? I could have just bought a book and sat and read a book because I don't want to be a pussy. That's why I go on the horse. Why are you doing this thing you hate? Because I don't want to be a pussy.
Yeah.
What's wrong with being a pussy?
What's wrong? That is the crux of life. What is wrong with being a pussy?
Yeah.
This country was settled by pussies, not brave people.
They couldn't
pussies.
They couldn't hack it in England. That's the thing. They couldn't hack it in England.
Why don't we, change the dialogue or change? Everything has been done by pussies, and if we could have that instead of great people did this and that,
There is something to be said for, pussing out to puss so you can puss out another day. It's self-preservation.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I was watching a documentary on the building of the Hoover Dam. These fucking guys were working in 120-degree heat, 14 hours a day.
All of them socialists, by the way.
Yeah.
Wobblies.
Government
Yes.
project. WPA.
That's what they did with the unemployed.
Put them to work building shit we needed.
Yeah.
Dumbasses.
But I had my hand operated on,
Yeah.
and they had the wrapping a little too tight. And as the anesthesia was wearing off, it was hurting more and more till I was almost in tears, and I just caught myself, and I went, "Wow, this is what I'm pussing out over."
Yeah.
Like it's a little pain for. It's been about 15 minutes.
I had so much dental work done in the 90s when my
brag.
my jaw.
Me
jaw
too.
issues. Yeah.
I had a cyst in my jaw. That had to be removed. And folks, Eddie Pepitone has done a lot. Go ahead.
What was the longest you've ever been in the dentist chair?
Dude, I had some root canal shit that I think it was a couple of hours.
14 hours. Dana Gould, 14 hours.
14 hours?
14 hours in dentist chair.
No. Straight? No, that...
Prepping 4 teeth for crowns. 3 of them needed root canals. And then I drove on Vicodin from Sacramento to San Francisco and did a show at the Punchline.
You did?
And it was a fantastic show. And I don't know why. I think it was because
I'll tell you why, because you weren't censoring your fucking self. You were just like...
I did about 35 minutes on my ordeal that day. You did? Yeah.
I
it was crazy.
That's the best stuff, though, isn't it? Like when it's so immediate that you don't judge it. Like you just have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just had to go through it.
I've had like about 13 teeth pulled out of my mouth. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had an extra tooth
Had a
up in the
couple.
roof of my mouth.
that kind of
they had to
thing.
get out.
That's your egg tooth.
My what?
That's your egg tooth. You use that to chip out of the egg.
Is that right? Is that what they call it? I thought I learned something today.
Boy, you say anything with conviction, and you got me. I'll tell
I'm
you
gullible.
that.
Yeah, I'll go right
No,
for
but
it.
baby
That's my
bird-
egg tooth, you know.
Baby birds have an egg tooth. Baby birds have a little tooth
little
that they
chip-
use.
chip out of eggs.
Yeah, I think that's the cutest thing. Baby birds.
I wouldn't want to ride a bird. That you would had to ride birds back in the day.
Oh, sure.
Back in the day, the birds were huge,
Before
right?
before horses, they had to ride birds.
Yeah.
Pterodactyls.
I think my extra tooth was just a tooth to injure myself. It was like my own body going, here's a little tool you can fuck yourself up with because you're too happy.
I don't want to be at the end of my life looking back on all of that time spent on a horse against my will. You know, and it's going to be, I'm going to be an old man. I'm going to be like Dustin Hoffman at the beginning of Little Big Man. I'm going to be like, that fucking horse ranch. And one of the regrets, I had the worst meeting with one of my heroes, which was the
tell me,
horrible.
Yeah. They say never meet your idols. Is that correct?
I would recommend never doing it. I wouldn't recommend never.
I would say keep it brief.
Yeah.
Keep
it very
Get in,
brief.
get out, and then, yeah.
There is no bigger Elvis Costello fan than me.
I love Elvis Costello.
There
too.
are certainly people as big, but I am up there every tour. You know,
For me, it would be Dylan as far as musician, I think.
Justin
But
Bieber.
I love Elvis too.
Well, this meeting took place at the Dylan show at the Hollywood Bowl. So long story longer, which should have been the name of the show. I'm at the Hollywood Bowl seeing Bob Dylan, and I'm with T-Shawn Shannon, and at the time my manager shared an office with Dylan's manager, so we got the first level of backstage. You know, there are like 18 levels of backstage.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I love that.
yeah.
I love that. By the way,
It's like, oh, you're at the party. No, actually, the real party's in there.
it's like a board game. It's like
I'm
you
directly
need...
behind the curtain. That's as far backstage as I've
That's
gotten.
fucking funny.
Right, exactly. So we're back there, and one of the people that worked in the office said, Elvis is here. Do you want to meet him? And I was like, yeah. Like, I didn't even think. Like, of course. And I just figured he'd just be sitting there, and I'd be sitting there, and we'd be talking.
Dana, I've heard a lot about you. Does he have a heavy...
It's the
British
David
accent?
Susskind show.
And I assumed he'd know a lot about me.
Yes,
So
exactly.
really, tell me, like,
Tell me.
yeah, what was it like? Doing shows in
You're
bookstores.
doing Ringo stuff.
I'm doing John Lennon.
Oh,
I'm doing
John Lennon. Yeah, John
Well, they're all
Lennon.
from Liverpool. They're all
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
They're all from Liverpool. So they say, hang on, I'll get Elvis's agent. And I'm standing there, and I'm all excited. And this little tiny woman comes out. And she's, very good. And she takes me by the
That should have been a
arm.
red flag right there.
Red flag
Tiny
right away.
women. Tiny women, red flag.
Speedy, tiny woman.
Tiny women.
Pulls me
Tiny women, tiny bubbles.
And now we're in a labyrinth of different areas of backstage access, and you can see you can tell
In the
that
Hollywood Bowl. Wow.
Yeah, and
I
you're
would have
getting
no idea.
and the stars are getting bigger as you go through one tent.
I wish
and you see there's Kevin Bacon. Oh, there's Warren Beatty. You're really moving up. Backstage is Bernie Kopell. Backstage lounge is James Spader. Backstage villa is Warren Beatty. And then we go all the way through, and then she walks into this room, and there's like a phalanx of people, like this just circle of people. And at the top of the circle is Elvis telling his story. And I see it, and my knees lock up, not unlike a nervous horse. I'm like, this is
Winnie.
Yeah, this isn't good. And she just walks through and just sticks her arms out and like knifes through the circle and hauls me into the center of the circle. Now,
That's so rude of her to do to you, by the way.
Oh, it gets so much worse.
She just wanted to get her job over with. Like,
Yes.
okay, if I introduce this kid
Right.
to Elvis, I'm done.
Right. To see this from the chandelier, it was a reluctant sperm entering an egg of derision. And I'm pulled into the circle, and this woman interrupts Elvis. I was like, and so anyway, Michael, Elvis, you have a fan who wants to meet you. Dana Gould, an actor here in Hollywood. And if...
Oh, the actor in the Hollywood.
I literally just like want to be like, how can I not be here? How can I not?
Who were the other people? Did
They
you
were
recognize anybody in the
Yes.
phalanx?
I know who they are because I know who would have been there, who would have been having that conversation. Because I know enough people that are innocent.
Oh,
It was all his like musician friends that live in L.A. Jim Keltner. You know, all these legendary Larry Knechtel, these
my God.
legendary studio. And it's just his
So
friends.
you didn't enjoy the exposure, like, because they say to network here in L.A. You were doing some great networking.
It was really
Keltner's like, we need an actor. Who's that kid? Imagine Keltner like a couple of days later.
That
We
kid
need
was
an
great.
actor.
and making it matters worse, Elvis's wife at the time looked at me like I was a small piece of fecal matter.
Oh,
She found on some corn. It was just like, she looked at me like a mouse on a wedding cake. Like, what are you doing here?
because she was really into the story.
She was really into the story.
She pulled down an imaginary shade.
Ugh. And I don't even remember what I said. It was just
I'm
like,
angry at the little tiny woman.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
angry at the
horrible.
tiny woman for doing that.
and it was just like, hi, here's some words I have that I can say. I have words in my mouth and I can use. They come from my head and I'll just say words now. Words. Is that good? Words. And to his credit, he was more bewildered than.
Well, yeah. What just happened here?
We both had that
Yeah.
thing, and I was like, well, all right, well, I'm nice to
Do
meet
you think the tiny woman had a bad day that day and was like, I mean, because that is cruel. I mean, what she did to you was fucking cruel.
I think that she either didn't give a shit or it was one of those things like, there's a client from the office that really wants to meet him. And she was like, ugh, I got 800 things to do, but fine. You want to meet
Right.
him?
Yeah.
Let's meet him.
Is it cruel or is it more just kind of thoughtless? Like,
More thoughtless than cruel.
Yeah.
But which is more my experience with women. They didn't give it enough thought to be cruel.
To be cruel.
Now, I'm a sports geek, and I've met a couple of my favorite athletes. I was a waiter in New York, and I was drinking martinis in the afternoon, which I don't even drink martinis, and
in a diaper. You left out
I was a huge New York Yankee fan. I'm drinking martinis in the afternoon. I was getting wasted with a couple other just sad waiter stuff. We were in between what's known as a double, which is just horrific, meaning you do the lunch
So you
shift.
are in a tuxedo. Because I did envision you in a tuxedo with a monocle in New York, having a martini. It's like 1936. You've got to solve a murder.
No, but just these big
Sometimes
oak,
I like to take in the ball game.
It's very weird, though, like big oak bars, expensive Midtown bar, big oak, but nobody in it. But there across, I'm getting wasted on martinis, and across the way is one of my idols, a New York Yankee first baseman, Don Mattingly.
Sure.
And he's with a gorgeous blonde, and I'm drunk. Now, normally I would not. The way I am with celebrities I don't go near. I just don't. I don't go near. Like, I don't want to because of my fear of being let down and that I'd be an asshole. But I was drunk and I walked over to him and he knew. I mean, you know, being someone who's in the public eye, you have to be leery. There has to be a part like what's coming toward me.
Yeah.
Right? Like what's coming toward me. And what was coming toward him was just a drunk fella. And this is, you know, I want a do-over because I was that ridiculous, like, I was drunk and I was trying to be like, you know, I really, 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 I wound up saying to him, this is what I said to him, I really, really love you. But I said it in that creepy, and I went to shake his hand and he gave me the limpest, you know, he's an athlete. He gave me the limpest handshake, like, get away from me. And I turned around, and even in my drunk state, I knew I just had done so poorly. So poorly.
The cold call is hard. It is, because that's what it is. To just be high.
And he was probably trying to get laid.
Yeah, you know, I never thought of that. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And then the other time, I just want to say this one other time, a hockey player, I'm a huge hockey fan, I met Adam Graves, and he couldn't have been freaking nicer. He started, and this threw me. I went up, I said, I'm a big fan. I wasn't drunk this time. I'm a big fan. I was working in Madison Square Garden as a waiter, and Graves was just going to the elevator after a game, and I saw him, and I was like, I'm going to say hello to Adam Graves. And he started asking, this really threw me, he started asking me questions about myself, like, how are you doing? How's it going with you? And I was like, what a nice guy. And then I couldn't answer. I was like, how's it doing with me? No. This is about. It would have been funny if I would have got angry.
You're wearing pads.
No. This is about you. This is about you, Graves. No, but he was
That's
terrifically
supposedly,
nice.
and I was going to say that's what it's like. People I know that have met Dylan, it's like happy to talk to you. Just he really doesn't want to talk about himself at all.
He doesn't.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? Oh, that's interesting.
He doesn't want to talk about how good he is.
No,
he's gotten that.
He's
for
got decades of that. I think he's like,
dude. Imagine if I go to him and I'm like, dude. Imagine he's never heard the following. I loved blowing in the wind. He's like, really? No one's told me that.
You're a very good musician.
You know what? You should go back to being Christian because that was really your best. That was your best time.
It's one thing to meet your hero. It's quite another to meet your hero and hit him up for money. But this is exactly what one Frank Thompson did, as shown in the series of letters originally reprinted in Found magazine. Now, I have edited these letters for brevity's sake, but I added nothing. Everything you hear is from that correspondence, and this correspondence is real. I will be reading the part of Mr. Serling, and Mr. Thompson will be portrayed by our own G.C. Wright.
Dear Rod Serling, after 11 years as a college teacher of English, I'm trying to make it as a writer. I've been hard at it full-time since summer. The old problem arises: money. I'm canvassing my friends. Who do you know that might be interested? I shudder to think how many times you've been asked. If you can help in any way, fine. If not, well, that's the way of the world. Sincerely, Frank H. Thompson, Jr.
Mr. Serling responds, Dear Frank Thompson, if I read it properly, you're asking me if there's any way you can get money to support you while you freelance. Frank, I find this unusual, if not without precedence. I know of no instance when a writer solicits financial aid to support his own career. Most writers I know hold down crummy jobs and then do their freelancing on kitchen tables late at night. I think your best bet is to work whenever the free time is available. This is what I did. This is what all of my friends do. They don't solicit financial aid. And apart from your thinking that I'm a son of a bitch, what else is new, Frank? Best to you and good luck. Rod Serling. Mr. Thompson responds,
Dear Rod Serling, if I don't reply right away, the desire to do so will vanish very quickly. Man, where have you been? Is Pacific Palisades that far away? Nobody takes this seriously anymore. The starving writer in the garret? Oh, come on. Oh, I know why you answered as you did. Aspiring writer presents himself to successful one, but when I ask my friends for something, they know how to take it. Because I so seldom ask. In short, I don't need your dime store advice. Do us both a favor and don't reply to this. Sincerely, Frank H. Thompson, Jr.
Dear Frank Thompson, some guy named Thompson hits me up for money. I get 50 letters a week from stockbrokers, real estate men, Baptist churches in Sioux City, Iowa, and from kooks who assure me that they're not kooks, but that it's only fair that I spread the largesse around. My reference to kitchen table writing wasn't meant to be subtle. It was what I did throughout 4 years of college, and 4 years thereafter. I had some pretty talented writer friends who did the same thing. One of them was Frank Gilroy, who just won himself a Pulitzer. You know what they did? They wrote. And would you believe it, Thompson? Nobody starved. Nobody chopped logs. Nobody lived in a garret. What sours your craw, Thompson? You're not important enough for me to put on trappings to reject you. What I was trying to do was turn you down with a reason. Writing to strangers for money is demeaning and prideless. I wish you luck. I think you're going to need it. Rod Serling. And what Mr. Serling didn't write, but what I'm willing to bet he said was, my God, what a cock. One thing I wanted to say about the Elvis Costello story, I kind of extricate myself, and it was literally just like, well, it was really nice meeting you. I'm sorry. And I think I said, like, I was sorry to interrupt. And I was just like, at this point, I'm just a worm. You know, I'm just a worm. And I turn around, and the circle of people has closed behind me.
You were already out of the phalanx?
And everyone's, no, I'm stuck in the middle. And I got to kind of.
Stuck in the
And I got to kind of, excuse me, I'm sorry. I got to let me out of. And it was just. Oh.
Do you think if you would have...
I'm cringing now.
Do you
Do you
think if you would have stayed just a little longer, that someone would have, like, the cruelty quotient would have been heightened and somebody would have went, well, he's an actor, let's see him act.
It would have been like when Megalito Loveless was on Star Trek and he made Spock do that dance.
They throw you a
Oh,
copy.
gather young ladies and amateur wine. Oh, bitter dregs.
That's all I remember from that episode. Bitter dregs. He was cool. Elvis was cool.
Was he?
Yeah, he was very. And later I met him. I met him later at The Simpsons when he came in to do.
Did you bring it up?
No,
You did not.
I didn't bring it up. In fact, he came in to record How I Spent My Strummer Vacation, and I went obviously to the record and got to meet him on my turf a little bit. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, how are you?" And it was really cool.
He didn't recognize you, did he?
No,
like,
it
are
was-
you the
You're
guy,
the guy.
in the
You're-
phalanx?
you're
You
the
came through the
guy.
phalanx, man.
I was telling a story about where the gypsies hid the treasure, and right when I was interrupted, I lost the thread. I don't know where the gypsies hid the treasure. And then at the end, I said, like, you know, I was like, can I ask you like a weird fan question now? Because I was really cool. Hey, how are you? You good with everything? And you know. All bullshit. Like I'm like
Like, yeah.
Costello, but I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you need? What do you need? And then I asked him a question about he couldn't have been. It was great. It was perfect. It was great.
So that's a nice do-over.
And then
then
then I
That is a good do-over.
then I ran
You didn't trust yourself? To be around him too long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I gotta go. I'm gonna fuck this up. Bye.
Yeah.
Or you just say one thing that you don't even know. Like, I am afraid that I'll just say something that I don't even mean just because I'm so like, you're the first, I'm going to rape you.
Yes. That's what Don Mattingly felt with me. I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
So is it true if I kill you, I become you? If I could go back in time
Yeah.
and correct that, when they came up to me and said, would
Do
you
you
like
wanna
to go
meet-
meet Elvis? I would go, that's okay. I'd rather just keep him.
On his pedestal.
Yeah. There is about 4 or 5 big do-overs I want in life, and
Yeah.
you don't get them.
You don't get him.
No, you got to process. You got to work through them.
I wish I stood up to my dad a couple of times. I got an F in chemistry in high school, and he couldn't deal with that. My dad was a dean, and his academic stuff was like, you have to be this and he dragged me to this chemistry teacher, and he was such a forceful guy. He made her give me a makeover exam, and I should have told him, I don't want any fucking part of this bullshit. All right? You can beat me to death.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm afraid of
Sure.
with my dad, you know. But
Yeah.
I let him take me to Brooklyn Tech High School and bully this woman, and she gave me a special exam. She gave me a special exam because she was afraid of my father, like I was.
Chemistry is a word. Tree. Apple.
It must have been easy because I passed it. Anyway. That just popped into my head.
Well, my parents gave away my dog when I was a little kid because the dog was shitting too much, and my mom is kind of a clean freak, and they just
Well, wait a
decided
minute.
they were going to bring it back to the pound.
I don't understand.
I wonder if this dog won't stop shitting.
I mean,
Do you know anything about mammals? This is a lifelong commitment.
you know, it was amazing. Like,
If it keeps eating, I have
just
terrible
when you-
news.
like eventually there'd be an end, and you could put a cork in it, and then it'd be done.
Was it
Like,
shitting in the house?
It was having trouble being housebroken.
Okay.
But there was
We have a dog like that.
extenuating circumstances and all that kind of thing. And I was a little kid, and I wasn't really taking care of the dog that well. But it is my dog.
Sure.
And they gave away my dog, and I kind of
What do-over you would have...
I would have thrown a fit, and I didn't.
You didn't,
I didn't throw the fit. I should have.
Yeah.
I remember so vividly the last day being with this dog, and then it was gone, and I never knew what happened to it.
I will see your giveaway,
All right.
and I will raise you.
Okay.
What do you have?
I come home from. I had a dog named Snoopy. In the 2nd grade, and Snoopy. All of our dogs were bird dogs, because my dad hunts,
Oh,
so they're all bird dogs, pointers, and
yeah.
I come home from school. I'm in 2nd grade, and my brother Kevin goes, Dana, Dad shot Snoopy.
No.
What?
No.
Dad shot Snoopy. I guess he got into a fight with a skunk and got really effed up.
Oh, he did.
I guess
Was
the
it a
skunk
mercy shooting?
Yeah,
Wow, Snoopy got that.
got bumped. But when you're 9, you don't really carry around the concept of mercy shooting. It's just a big violation of trust for your dad to murder your dog.
Yes, yeah. And you've seen
Fuck
by then
yeah.
you had probably seen a Frankenstein film or two, so you probably thought something can be done.
Something
here.
can be done.
The brain of Snoopy can go into another dog, and we'll work it out.
It also made me realize that if I get hurt, I probably don't want to go to my dad.
Well, how badly did Dana scrape his knee? No, tell him it's not that deep.
Later in life, my brother, in front of my dad, would say stuff like, "No, he had to do it. He jumped into the pond, and when he came out of the pond, he was soaking wet." Dad had to shoot him. I had the creepiest dad story the other day. I don't know who told me this story, and I can't remember the name, and I'm really sorry.
Creepy dad story?
Yeah, a guy, typical dad, very quiet, this guy, like him and his father never told each other that they loved each other. And so
Right.
finally he's in his 20s. He's getting to be an adult. And he goes, Dad, I love you. And his father went, no problem.
Oh my God. That is the best denial of love I have heard.
It could have gone worse.
No problem.
Wouldn't that be funny? Like,
And I love the socks.
Dad, I love you.
People have lots of feelings. Yeah, that would have been my dad. Dad, I love you. Do you love other men? No. These are two famous stories about my dad. When Saturday Night Live first came on, my brothers and I were watching it. And we were watching Devo in yellow jumpsuits singing Satisfaction.
oh, yeah.
My dad comes home from his night job, which was bartending, which is great. Is that right? Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. He comes in, and we're watching Devo, and he just walks through the room, never breaks stride,
And says,
just looks at the TV and goes, what's this, the goddamned asshole show? Straight through.
Holy shit.
Then, about 3 or 4 weeks later, I'm watching it, and this is like 77. I'm 13 years old, and I'm watching David Bowie, and Bowie's on SNL, and he's singing "Boys Keep Swinging," and he's singing it in a woman's Army Corps outfit. He's got like high heels and a skirt.
Bowie confused me, too, so I'm going to give your father a bit of a break.
So this is what my dad does.
Yeah.
He walks in, he looks at the TV, he looks at me, and then he leans down on his knees. He puts his hands on his knees, and he gets his face about 4 inches from my face, and he just goes, "You like that queer, Dana?"
You know what? It sounds like a prison story where, like, the toughest inmate in the prison is fucking with you.
Yeah. That's not even symbolic. That's exactly what it was. And my dad, who's 83, and I always say, like, could still put me through a wall.
I feel that way about my dad. Is that true?
But that's how my
I can take my dad.
You can at
See,
this
oh,
point.
This is how my brothers and I discuss our parents' health, by the level of damage they could still do to us. Like, I know in 5 or 10 years, how's Dad? Well, I think he could twist your wrist. But I don't think he could dislocate your collarbone if he had to.
Well, it's like a cat. It's like a cat. That's why they sleep all day, so they can just save it for that one moment when they got to go, wow. And that's your dad, yeah.
I always look at my dad now. My dad is getting up there now, and I'm going, his back is going. I could probably quickly snap his neck, maybe.
one little push. But I wonder, like, at the end of that, the dad that said no problem, like, at the end of his life, is he just like, oh, I fucked that up? My whole mode of parenting now is the reverse of that.
Sure.
It's just literally like,
I love you.
a reverse,
I love you.
all the time. Yeah, and like my kids, like,
But it's genuine. It's not.
no, of course it is, but it's also.
I mean, you're
like,
not faking it with your face.
No, you.
Phony dad. I love that.
Dana reveals on the
I
podcast he does.
You
It's
are
hard.
terrific.
Yeah, it's hard because when they're 17 or 18, you have to break up with your kids. Look, I was
yeah.
saying a lot of that stuff at the time because I felt trapped in the relationship. I didn't really know what was good for me. I felt, look, we live together. I'm paying for your school. I'm buying your clothes. I felt it was weird, and I just wanted to go along. I wanted to go along. But there's been no love for a long time now. And I met some new kids at the park, and I think I'm going to take them to Disneyland.
It would be hilarious meeting new kids at
Are
the
these
park.
new kids cute? They're wonderful. They're rambunctious. They have a sense of wonder. That's great. That's great. Breaking up with your kids is hard to do.
You got a lot of really, really good qualities.
It's not me.
You're fine.
It's me. I feel like I'm keeping you from the parents that you should meet out there someplace. You don't want that, right? I love you that much. I'm setting you free.
They're 17.
It's not you, it's me.
You know, that's
Oh my God, that's funny.
that is and you catch yourself sometimes, like sometimes with, you're like, I am now a full 45 minutes after my father would have hit me on the side of the head and sent me to the ground, and this conversation would have been over. It's just like when you get in these arguments because you can't hit
Yeah.
him, and just like, well, as I said, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's like,
My dad, he did, because his father, we're Germans, so the violence pretty much stopped with this generation.
Right.
This is what my
I guess
grandfather.
if you're a German kid in this generation, every time you do something wrong, your dad gets mad at you. 6 million Jews, and they stop.
Really? We're going to pull out the 6 million Jews? Oh, okay, you're going to right there.
You're
But
going to throw the 6 million Jews card? Yes, I am.
Yes. But my grandfather, when my dad would, if he wet
Now,
the
where
bed,
is he from?
Germany.
Where was he in the 40s? I'm just curious.
No.
Let me put a decade out of thin air.
He
The
was-
40s.
He was one of the good ones.
Was he?
One of the good ones.
You
Yeah.
have to say that.
He
though.
didn't even, he
He killed the
followed the orders, but they weren't those orders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He followed a bake
Yeah.
a cake.
He was in my grandfather was in World War I. He was not in World
Is
War
that
II.
right?
Wow.
Yeah. And after that, he went to Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah. But he when my
In hiding?
Yeah, I'm wondering.
But he did this thing that when my dad would wet the bed, what he would do is he would put salt in the bed. So when you would pee in the bed, it would get acidic and it would like burn your body.
Oh my!
and that was how they
God.
got you to stop wetting the bed.
Oh,
Now, my father has come a long way.
See, I
never got
Yeah.
assaulting. Never got assaulting.
I immediately go to that. Sounds like the greatest S&M game in history.
I did bring some salt and some
A salt in a 6-pack.
and some 1,000 thread count.
What's the thread count on these sheets?
But yeah, my dad, there was no hitting. There was like an occasional spanking here and there, but for the most
Right.
part, it was just words. And like you knew that, I knew my dad was at the end when you'd be in the middle of some sort of explanation. He'd just go, bullshit.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then
And I've said
you
that
weren't
to
going
my
to
kid.
go
That
anywhere.
is one of my regrets is I will swear. Like,
yeah.
and they look at you like, you said an F. Yes, I said an F. And then you get away like, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
I lost my temper.
The apology.
I'm very sorry.
But it is like a DEFCON warning.
But here's the thing. My kids aren't afraid of me. Like
Which
they-
is so
yeah.
good.
They would never
That's
understand.
so good.
They would never understand. They wouldn't understand the concept of being afraid of your parents. But I wonder if that's good.
Wow.
I wonder if it's good. Maybe if they were a little afraid of me. Like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
if I just did some stuff to keep them on edge. Like sometimes, middle of the night, just run into the room with a hammer. Turn the light on, wave it, turn the light off. I'm crazy. Just so you know, I could go at any minute.
I think you should have a
The
series
Mad Bomber theory.
of tunnels and trapdoors throughout the house installed where you just appear. I wouldn't do that.
Inexplicably hang around in clown makeup. Yes. How to make serial killers.
No, I was just going to say a couple other do-overs are with women for me.
Oh,
like
I got
just
one.
relate.
Oh, I got one.
Just like would be like, why did I enter into this? I guess you can't do. I mean, when I'm thinking about it, I guess you can't do anything about it. But coming home one day and being told by an ex-girlfriend, the reason why I'm leaving you is my psychic said I should leave you. I used to have to pick angel cards with this woman.
You dated Shirley MacLaine?
Sounds like just about.
You dated
You're
all of
psychic.
California.
Like I wish I broke. I mean, I should have seen it coming. Like do-overs, I should have seen this coming. I should have seen this coming when she
But it's like-
started going to the psychic.
A dude was getting married,
Yeah.
standing at the back of the church, knew it was wrong. Wow. And I said, so why did you go ahead with it? And he said, I knew at the time the only way out was through. What a sick, horrible. Da,
Meaning-
I have the only way
He
I
has
can
to go
break up
through with it?
Yeah, I have to go and get married. And they did. They were married for like 3 years, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, but that's just
That's a long
sickening
3 years, though.
Well, that's why
No
you hear
shit.
people. That's why you hear people just splitting at the altar, right? I mean, that's a phenomenon.
Has that ever happened, really?
I think so.
I've had sets like that. Where I just wanted to run. Like, what if I just ran right now? There's no saying that I can't just go, bye.
I often wondered. I wonder if people think,
know,
like,
really.
when they're getting married, they hope that something like The Graduate happens, maybe somebody I know will just come into the church and start screaming. And you ever bump into your old girlfriends? And it's this casual, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah. Okay. Like, wow, that's weird.
Oh, that is a bad one. That is.
I've seen you naked and sick.
Yeah.
You know, what do you have? Oh, you having the air fries? Yeah, they're good. Well, I'm going to go back to the life I built out of the shambles that you left.
Are you still destroying people? That became my thing. Is it like after a while, you know, you go through a point in your life where you're like, I want to meet the person that it's perfect for me and have it be romantic and idyllic. And then I just want someone who's not actively trying to destroy me. That's all I want.
Your bar is set low.
Well, that's my general do-overs, just in a nutshell. Was I would have had sex with more people, broken up with more people,
I would have
and
too.
hit more people.
Hit more
Yes.
people.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
My do-over plan is to comfort and have sex with the people you hit and break up with.
I think we can work this out.
You just tag along.
I'll do yours.
I'm Matt's wingman.
That's wingman.
He's going to break up with you, and I'm going to soothe you.
Circle jerk of regret.
I'm going to soothe you with my genitals. Yeah, you just have to, and you just got to chew it. You just got to chew it and go on.
I've had those moments where it's like I'm sitting someplace, like those bullying moments in junior high school are still just right there.
Oh,
Me too. I still want to kill one guy.
Yeah, and I'll be sitting someplace, and all of a sudden, like my face will go, and I'm right there in the schoolyard, and Carrie will go, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah, no, I was just in 1982. That's all.
Yes, I was just in 1982.
Yeah, I have a handful of memories. Like, oh, that guy. Maybe he got eye AIDS. Is there an AIDS just for your eyes? Did he get that? Yeah, you do. You just carry that around.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon said famously that at the end of his life, it's like it's all the slights you get as a kid in school. That's just defines your whole life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Certainly his. And he was a very emotionally healthy guy.
He worked it out at the end, though, really.
George Carlin called him a paranoid moral dwarf.
Jesus. God, he was good with words.
Yeah, he was great. He was amazing. There was a famous guy I met who was great. Carlin.
Oh.
Now, there was a hero.
I've heard
of mine.
nothing. I've never met him, and I've heard he was amazing.
That is the great. When I started doing stand-up, I inadvertently got on an HBO special when I was 18. I had not been doing stand-up a year, and I had no business being there. It was for comedians that were in college. And it's kind of a dumb idea for a show. People who are really inexperienced at what they do. Let's showcase them. But it was me and...
Haven't quite worked it out.
I know. Me, John Michael Higgins from all the Christopher Guest movies.
Yeah.
He was on it.
I didn't know
was
he
on it.
did stand-up.
Yeah, he did this performance, one-man performance piece. We've been friends ever since. Same with Ed Solomon, who wrote Men in Black.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, all sorts of fun people. But it was a ghastly special. But I was talking, they were interviewing us, and I was just saying that, George Carlin was a big influence on me, and he was a big hero of mine. And the line producer goes, "Oh, we do his specials too. We know George. You should write him. He'd love to hear that." And it's like, that's his address. And I did. I wrote him a fan letter that I'm sure if I read today, I would want to blow my brains out.
Really? That?
But, I wrote him the letter. I said, I'm on this thing, and I'm a comic, and you're a big reason. And I had a day job. I was unloading trucks at the back of the Stop and Shop in Hyannis, Massachusetts. I came home from work one day, and my dad goes, "George Carlin called you."
Oh, God. He actually called.
He called me, and he called my house. So I did call him back, and he was like, "Oh, congratulations, great, good for you. I love to hear stuff like that." He couldn't.
Man, I've heard that story
nicer.
before too.
Yeah.
That he just takes
and then
time.
just fan for life. I don't care what you do, fan for life.
Yeah, for life.
Yeah.
I met George Lucas at some party.
Really?
When I worked at this.
Please
this
tell me it
theater.
was a sex party.
Well, I think later on in the night it was for him. Because he was with a lady that I'm not sure was his steady.
Uh-huh.
But he was.
He's the cover of this month's Chinless Billionaire. I don't know if you guys know.
Hey, he's got so much money. Why just a little?
He
just take care of that.
defines where his chin is by where he shaves that day. I think my chin will be down here today.
As that's where all his fame goes. His fame and riches
Goes to his
right there.
Goes to his waddle.
That's where he keeps.
Is he fat?
The gold
He
coins.
looks like an
Or is it
elderly
all in his
orangutan,
chin?
and they have that weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
sort
Oh,
of-
really?
Yeah.
I think it's called a waddle.
Wow. So yeah, I see him at this party, and I'm like, oh my god, that's George Lucas. And I go up to him and I go, excuse me, are you George Lucas? And he goes, yes.
And was this at a house party?
This
or-
was at a party that was.
It sounds like you're a detective, by the
It
way.
was a-
Excuse me, are you
Excuse
George
me, are you-
Lucas?
Can I,
Can I have
speak with
a?
you,
Yeah,
please? Can I speak with you?
Can I speak
I've got a
with you?
couple of Empire Strikes Back questions.
Yes, I
I'd
got a
like to
couple
ask
of
you.
Empire Strike Back.
So yeah,
I'd like to ask you some Howard the Duck questions.
why?
Howard the Duck was interesting. I really just want to make smaller experimental films.
But you've been saying that since 1978. You've never done it. You have all the money in the world. Why don't you just admit that you're lying to yourself and others?
Well, I feel if I just make one more Lego version of the Star Wars movie, I can make a smaller experimental film.
That's bullshit. You know it's bullshit.
Is it true that you have a throne made of $1,000 bills?
Is there anything from my childhood that I love that you haven't raped yet?
How many more times are you going to edit all your films?
Exactly.
But yeah, and then I said, "Sir, are you George Lucas?" "Yes, I am." And I said, "I'm a big fan of yours." He goes, "Thank you very much." And then I thought that for some reason, in my naivete, I thought it was going to go on a little longer. But it was now just me standing, looking at him looking at me, and his date smiling happily. And I went,
Yeah, there's nothing to say.
Oh, wow.
Might I suggest? Well, I have diarrhea. Well, now, whose house was that at?
This was
Yeah.
this was a party that was connected to. I worked at this theater in San Francisco where they did Cats and all that kind of stuff. And it was
Okay.
sometimes we could go.
I
to
love
it,
that. I love
And
that.
I knew
You
a
a fan
guy.
of David Bowie, Matt?
I knew a guy
Channel
named-
my father.
Tim Curry and I have the same tailor, so he gave me the info. I also met through that job. I was the backstage door guy when they had Cabaret, and Werner Klemperer was in the show, the famous Colonel Klink. And
Now, how is it that you met Tim Curry, but it was not in Cabaret?
he was in Me and My Girl.
Me and My Girl is a play a cock wrote to a guy's hand.
Together forever.
Dana has lost it.
I made myself laugh.
I know you did. That's the best.
I just like the idea of a cock with a pen. This has a framed photo on the. It's a guy's cock at a desk, and he's got the picture of the guy's hand in a frame. Like,
And a
I know you're busy on the computer right now, but I'm thinking about you.
And the picture is signed, has a little thumbprint made of lipstick in the corner.
Lefty.
I was watching you squeeze oranges yesterday, and I just want to say I started shivering.
I saw you casually writing, and all of a sudden my mind went to a different place.
Stop peeling bananas. You know it frightens me. If you whittle carrots one more time, I'm leaving. Peel carrots, not whittle.
But you know what's a funny thing?
Whittle
He's
carrots.
just got
I like whittle.
pictures. He's got pictures of the hand all over his
A crazy
his,
stalker.
His,
Yeah.
his apartment, like all over, like every foot is a picture of his.
Some of them strangely tell a photo.
Dear Lefty, I couldn't help notice that you were angrily peeling carrots. Did I do something wrong?
If that mouth bites your nails again, I'll kill him.
I have to pee. I'm ready whenever you can get over here. Come over right now. Booty call. So It never stops.
call.
But you know it never stops.
Never stops.
Yeah. Now, before we go, one listener pointed out to me not too long ago that we cannot seem to go through an entire podcast without mentioning the Kennedys. And with the exception, I believe, of Jailbirds, we've held true to that. We almost missed them again on this very podcast. But at the very, very end, we circled around to pay dirt. So now, without further ado, here is the obligatory Kennedy mention. Stephen King's new book, which I really love, 11/22/63, is about a guy who finds a portal to a time. We calls it a wormhole. He calls it the rabbit hole. And if you go into this thing, it's like a little tunnel in the back of a store. And you come out in the town in 1958.
Oh, wow.
And then you can go back in, but when you come back, you always come out at the same moment in this town. He decides to go back and kill Lee Harvey Oswald before Lee Harvey Oswald kills Kennedy.
Right.
It's such a great, he's so. I was thinking, what if you did that, but you just didn't have a lot of imagination, and you go back and you wait, and you're in Dallas on the day, but instead all you do is just like stand by the side of the street and go, I bet you $5 his head blows up. Like, made $5 off the deal. Check it out, $5.
You definitely wind up in jail.
Yeah.
He told me.
Yeah.
He told me. I mean, he had to be in on it.
Wait, what are those two men betting on? Why are they betting on me? Talk about the Kennedys every podcast.
You really?
Well, there was a famous story in Life magazine, Jackie Onassis, and the photos breakdown of the Zapruder film was crawling on the back of the car.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
And they said in Life magazine she was going for help. And Lenny Bruce said
She was getting the fuck out of there.
out of the way,
and
yeah.
got a lot of shit for it.
Yeah.
History has proven them both wrong.
Is that right?
She was going to retrieve a piece of his head.
Yep.
No way. Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
I know.
With the idea...
You don't realize that that moment was actually horrifying.
With the idea that this can be...
I think not thinking.
Reflex.
Not
yeah.
thinking.
Not thinking.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
We might need that.
Yeah. That's mine. Mine!
My brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
I watched the Zapruder film every night right before I go to bed.
The Zapruder film is horrific, but if you put the yakety sax Benny Hill music underneath it,
You have to speed it up a little bit, though.
history takes on a different patina. Oh, let's end it there on the Zapruder film.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone.
We've lost our innocence. She's a very kinky girl, the kind you don't take home to mother. She will never let your spirits down once you get her off the street. She likes the boys in the band. She says that I'm her all-time favorite. When I make my move to her room, it's the right time. She's never hard to please. Oh, no.
This has been the Dana Gould Hour, brought to you by the Internet. Music by Andy Paley, with Jake Posner behind the board. Engineering by Brent Butler. Internet junk by Spencer Hunt and Segan Friend. Sound editing, effects, and everything else by Jolinda Palmer. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you drop us a line at show@danagould.com. Tom Kenny speaking.
My God, what a cock.